Hi everybody, it's Benita. Hope everybody's having a great summer. Summer's almost over. I'd like to share with you my gift portfolio that I'm going to use to do some tutorials for you guys. I know if you watch any of my videos, I talked about how I do my binding system with a U and an upside down T. I've been showing you my, I don't want to call it my signature waterfall, but how I do my waterfalls where it looks like I used a lot of paper and did it. And then also on my envelope that I usually put on the back inside cover that has a special circle closure with twine. And so I've talked a lot about those things, and so I thought it's time I'm going to do a tutorial for you. So I'm super excited. Again, I call this my gift portfolio. It only has 4 pages, an inside front cover, which is my waterfall, and then the back inside cover is the envelope. This holds a lot of photos, about 20 to 30 photos, so don't let that think like, oh my gosh, why would I want to make that? I'm going to give you some ideas of why you'd want to make it. So I often make very chunky, big albums because that's what I like. I love to give them as gifts. And when I have a little bit of leftover paper, I'm like, gosh, what am I going to do with it? So the last few times I made a baby album, I made a smaller little album and I gave to the baby's mama and said, why don't you give this to your mom? And so she did. What about a wedding? You're making a big wedding photo, you have some leftover paper. Why don't you make one for the bride's mom or one of the attendants or something like that? Or great gifts for Christmas for your staff. You could buy a package of Christmas paper and make several of these. So they're really fun and quick, and I hope you learned some stuff. We'll be excited to hear some feedback from you. The tutorials will come out in sections, and hopefully I'll get them out in the next day or two. I'll start with it. I want to tell you right now, I do have editing software for my videos. I do not know how to use it, so we're going to be some challenged with how I'm going to give you the information, and please bear with me. I'm super excited to have a tutorial for you guys. You know, my passion is crafting. I love to share my crafting with people. I think it's really great. I always like to give a shout out to my mom, who's been incredible. She taught me how to knit when I was 5. I'm a quilter, but she's really guided me in my life. I follow Shelly Geigel from J&S Hobbies. She's got some great tutorials out there that are free as well. Recently, in like, I don't know, 7 or 8 months ago, I've been following Frances Long from Your Book of Memories. She's got some great tutorials that are free as well. And then I also do some items from Kathy Orta from Paper Phenomenon. Her videos and tutorials do cost, but she has some great products out there. So I encourage you to check those 3 people out because they have some really great things. I'm in no way, in any shape or form in their category, but I do like to share with you. So let's talk about the album and what I'm going to talk to you about in my next tutorials coming up for this. So I'm going to talk about how I cover my book. I didn't used to cover my albums. I just used my chipboard, but I'm going to one of the reasons I like to do that is many of you guys probably struggle with when you move your paper over your spine and it gets it gets a buckle right here and it's very frustrating. Well, when you cover your spine, guess what? You don't have to do that. You can just put a piece of paper right down here and then you don't even have to worry about it. So that is one of the reasons I did that. You can also use chipboard, like white chipboard. 3 or 4 years ago, I got a whole bunch of white chipboard. I've made 1 album with white chipboard, will not make it again, don't want to do that. So therefore, I am using my white chipboard. I cover it with my black paper, and there you go. You can get chipboard from the dollar store. You can get the erase boards that the kids can use, and it will make an album for you. And again, it's not black, so you can cover that up. So I really like that. I'm also going to talk to you about my waterfall and how I do that. There'll be a tutorial on that. There'll be a tutorial on how I make my envelope, the closure of my envelope. There'll be a tutorial on how I do my binding system. I hear a lot of people struggle with how they get their papers in. They get crooked. Mine is not perfect, and all the 3 ladies that I mentioned all do things differently, and none of them are incorrect. It's just what's comfortable for you. So let's just take a quick glance at this, and then again in the next day or 2 I'll get my first tutorial out. So again, I'm super excited and I hope you guys are as well. So I'm asking you to be kind to me. So here we go. So this is leftover paper, and I actually have enough to make another one. that I just used. And again, this album here measures 7¼ by 9 inches. The spine is only 1.5 inches because I only have 4 pages in there. So when I open it up, there is my beautiful waterfall. Now this time I used ribbon. Sometimes I use a flap with a magnet, but I used a ribbon. And so when you unfold this, excuse me, untie that and you look, it looks like I have paper in there. We all use a lot of paper, and so this is just a way to conserve your paper. And so let me show you. So as I open up my waterfall, there's no paper here. That's just black, and then it's ready waiting for my photo to fit there, a 4x6 photo. Here's my famous photo from years ago that I continue to use from SeaWorld. So see how that photo fits right in there, and that is perfect, but it looks like I have paper down there. And so I'm going to continue to go up all these flaps like this, all the way to the end, and there's 7 flaps here, so that's going to be 14 photos just on the flaps. And when I get to this last page, I just like to make this last page a pocket now. Now 4x6 photo you could put in there. How I do my pockets, you sure could. But you could put a couple small photos in there, some journaling, something like that. But look at this. See this right here? So this looks like you have paper on the other side as well. And so if I put my photo right here, and it's attached, and I close this, you can't even tell I have a photo there. So that is one of the beautiful things that I have figured out for my waterfalls. No matter what size waterfalls I make, I do that. However, the majority of waterfalls I make are for 4x6. I will tell you, I typically put my waterfall on the inside front cover or on the inside back cover because it's on your heavy chipboard, because this gets heavy. I do not like a full waterfall inside your book because of the weight on it. Now, one thing I will note to you is that you do want to turn these one page at a time because they will catch just a tad bit on your paper there. So we're going to do that. Anyway, is that not slick? So we are going to talk about how to do that. Super excited. So when you look at my binding system, again, we'll talk more about it. You will see when I talk about my U, you'll see this U. This U is all by itself. Even if I have 6 U's, they're not attached. They're all by itself, one at a time. And I'll talk more about that in my tutorial. So here's page 1, and I open it up, and here's a pocket. And you will notice I have used decorative punch. My tutorial I will. You do not have to. I just like decorative punches. And I'll kind of go in and show you the scallop one. You know, it's probably from Martha Stewart or something like that. But I have like probably 4 or 5 punches that I like to use. So it just gives it some texture and some nice stuff. I don't really like just a straight piece, but there's nothing wrong with that. The one thing about this album is it lets you use up some of your paper, little bits of paper. Here is a corner pocket right here, and right up here, so you can put photos on either one of them. So this will hold a couple of photos as well. That's page 1. I'm going to move right on to page 2. And this is really cool. You probably have done these, but this is just a double pocket. So we'll talk about how we do this. This is a short pocket, and this pocket I have chosen to make it be a big pocket. And what I mean by that is it goes all the way down there. So you could really put a 5x7 photo in there. Sometimes we'll do pockets that will not do that, but this one I wanted to have you have the opportunity to put a bigger photo in there. Okay. This is one of my pages that I'm super excited to talk to you guys about. When I give an album away, I like to give the recipient 3 different ways to put their photos. As we've already shown, we've talked about pockets. We've talked about solid paper. You can just put their photos. They can do any way that they want. But sometimes I think that they need a little bit of guidance, which also saves you with paper. Now watch when I open this up. This is so incredibly cool. I open it up, and first we're going to start with a pocket right up here. You can put a 4x6 photo there, or you can put other things in there, photo mats. But when I open this up, look at down here is a place for 4x6 photo, and I have a white mat right on there that puts it on there and mats that photo just beautifully. Then I'm going to come on here. I'm going to open my 2 side flaps, and guess what? There is 4x6 photos as well. And then I have put an item on here for 4 different photos, and I'll just kind of zoom in on that. I don't have the sizes on there. Sometimes I come and write the sizes of what photos they should make on there. This little circle in the middle actually is just adhered right in the middle of it, so when you put your photo in there, you can just go ahead and tuck it under that little circle there. But this does two things. This gives your recipient a start to place the photos. So when I give somebody my album, I say, hey, you know what? Why don't you go through first and fill up your spaces that I've predetermined for you. Then when you have leftover photos, put them in some pockets. Then if you have more photos, then put them on your solid pieces of paper, such as these right here. That way you get to see the pretty paper. They may or may not cover it up right away. But it gives them lots of different options. So that is one of my really cool things that I love to do. I don't do it on every page, and nor would I think you want to, because I'm visual and I like to see the paper, but that gives them an opportunity to do that. So moving on to page 3, that's just a little fun page, and there's 2 little pockets in here, and I have got little photo mats that will have that you just put your photos right on there. And I think that might be too light to see that, but this says place photo here. I really like that stamp. My mom got it for me. I'm sure I know there's a couple places that have it, you know, but maybe if Shelly doesn't have one, maybe I can talk Shelly into getting some, because those are really, really fun for that. And this will hold a couple photos. It will not hold a 4x6 photo. I want to be sure to show you that. It will not, but you can put a couple other photos in there. Now, this I love, you guys. This is so incredibly cool. The reason I started my YouTube channel, by the way, is because my mom doesn't always live by me, and neither does my sister-in-law, and they always like to see what I create, so I put them on YouTube so they can see. My sister-in-law has been asking me, like, how do you do this thing right here? It is so easy, ladies, so incredibly easy, and I'm going to show you that in my tutorial. So first of all, we're just going to unwind our thread right here, and when you open this up, you open it up, and it leaves you this whole page right here, and there's a little bit of a gusset. You can make a bigger gusset, and this album you could. I chose to do an 1/8 gusset, but you could do a 1/4 if you wanted. But you can put so many photos right in here. You could put a wedding invitation, you could put a birth announcement, all kinds of things in there. So when you close it up, and then it ties like that, and it's good to go, and then we close that. There's no reason to put a closure on this one because it's not that big of an album. But I think this is such a cool thing. Super excited to get my tutorials going for you. I hope you like it. Again, this would be something great. What about Christmas every year for your own self? You can put down the side 2018. Next year, make the same one. 2019. My goal also is, as I get my tutorials going, is that maybe in a couple months I'm going to make another one exactly the same size with 4 different pages inside. You'll still be able to put your lovely waterfall here and the envelope in the back, but we'll have 4 new pages. And so that way you're going to have 8 pages and you can mix and match. And I might do that 3 or 4 times throughout the year, and that gives you some opportunities to do that. Once you learn how to do my system, what if you want to take all 8 of those pages and make one big album? You'll be able to do that as well. So again, I am super excited to get started on this venture. I will hopefully in the next day or 2, my first one will be out. We will be starting with the cover and the waterfall and here, and then we'll go to the pages, and they may be in 2 or 3 segments. It just depends on how long the video is. Again, I'm super excited, and I hope you are going to enjoy this album. Again, it's called my gift portfolio. Thanks a lot, and see you soon.